I don't even know what to say when it comes to the latest story coming out from the Kardashians TV show. They just came back for a fifth season on Hulu, and they're already telling all the nastiness. Okay, the story is disgusting, so definitely a trigger warning if you're not into bodily fluids, which I'm not, but as a reporter, I have to relay the news nonetheless, okay? So I feel like over the years, we've always been kind of low-key told that Kris Jenner has some sort of a drinking problem, like she might be a drunk or a lush. And now this story really just validated it for me anyway, in my personal opinion. If you feel differently, don't hesitate to let me know in the comment section. So this story came out because Kris and Khloe went to Scott Disick's home, and Scott said, "Hey, Kris, remember, Mason is 13 and you promised when he's 16 years old, you were going to buy him a car. So I just want to make sure that you are keeping that promise." And then Khloe interrupts the conversation to say that she feels as though like 16 years old is too young to be driving. And then Kris decided to open up her yap and expose her drinking problem, her alleged drinking problem anyway, because this is when the skeletons fall out of her closet, you know? She goes, "Oh, Khloe, you were driving at that age." And then Khloe goes, "You know what? You're right. I was driving at 14. I was driving the kids to and from school at that age." 14 years old, you guys. That is way, way, way too young. I already do feel like 16 is a little risky, but 14 is far too young. And she wasn't doing it legally. In fact, Kris had lied to Khloe and told her that she had been issued some kind of like a government license in the state of California to drive. And she actually admits it, right? So Kris says, "Hey, a government issued license in the state of California is something I think I made up. It was a little bit different back then. Don't judge me until you've walked a mile in my shoes." To which I say, listen, Khloe ain't that old. She was born in the 80s. My sister was born in the 80s, the tail end, right? She's a 1989 baby. I'm born in 1993, not far, after. And I don't remember it being normal for children to be driving, especially unlicensed with no experience. Like, that's very, very crazy. But if you are in the same age range as Khloe, I think she was born in 1983 or 84. I don't remember, but something like that. Let me know if you were driving at this age. And if you lived in a cosmopolitan city, like if you lived in LA, Beverly Hills, or whatever, Bel Air, like these people. Not if you lived in the middle of butt-fuck nowhere and you were driving a tractor or a four-wheeler, okay? Completely different scenarios, like completely different danger levels as well. So Khloe, she bragged about being a good driver and how she had to take the kids to and from school. And I think that she was referring to Kendall and Kylie, which are the only, Kardashians who are younger than her. The other, the trio, Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe, she is the youngest of. So I don't believe that she at 14 was driving her older sisters around. I think she was driving her younger sisters around, right? And then she talks about, outside of driving the kids around, to which I asked, why was she responsible for that? Wasn't Kris some sort of a trophy wife? Weren't both of her husbands rich? Like, the kids grew up with nannies. They grew up with Cartier jewelry. They had a lot, So why weren't the staff of the home able to drive these kids around? That is very interesting to me. Not only that, but why weren't they able to drive Kris around? Why didn't Kris have an actual taxi, to drive her around? Because when she gets into the story, I get shook, right? So basically what happened is at 15 years old, Kris had Khloe become her designated driver after a night of drinking. To which I say, okay, well, Khloe was 15, but her older sisters were already driving age, Kim and Kourtney. Why weren't Kim and Kourtney there to help? Wouldn't Kourtney have been like 19, 20 at this time, and then Kim in the 16, 17 range? Anyway, basically they described it as the following. Mom got ish-faced. It was only her and I. I'm driving on the freeway. I'm 15. I'm not like qualified. This is a lot for me. So a 15-year-old on the freeway with a drunken mother, like, to me, that screams alcohol problem. Like, this is not a cute, funny story. This is an alarming story of neglect and alcoholism, right? Because this risked Khloe's life, not just this one incident, but her having to drive Kendall and Kylie to and from school at 14 years old. Like, all of this feels like Khloe was very severely neglected. And it makes sense why she is the way that she is these days, with the way that she grew up like not really having much of a value placed on her, you know, and it's just very, very sad. So anyway, Khloe also talked about how Kris had her head hanging out the window of the car before, and again, trigger warning, vomiting with no warning. And because they were on the freeway and they're driving so quickly, what happened? Whoop, wrap around right in Khloe's face. Oh, that is so disgusting, you guys. Absolutely vile and revolting. And so Khloe says that at this point, she's like screaming, crying, like, please, mom, stop. But then Kris kept on doing it. Like she couldn't stop herself. And the whole story is just so nasty. Again, I'm wondering, why didn't Kris have taxi money? Wasn't Kris like a rich kept woman? Like what happened here? This is very, very strange. And at this time, I know she was married to like an Olympic athlete, but like the money was kind of like gone or something like that. And then she helped to like bring the money back by like having Caitlyn star in like infomercials and stuff like that. So what happened, you know? And where was Caitlyn, right? Like why couldn't Caitlyn handle this? It's all so weird. So Khloe says that when this happened, she was wearing her favorite coat, an expensive navy and suede one with fur trim, which I'm like, okay, well, you're wearing this expensive coat. Well, you guys had money. Why didn't Kris have taxi money? This is very, very strange. So Khloe said that it was gifted to her by Kim Kardashian, her first husband, Damon Thomas, and that it was the most expensive thing that she had ever owned at that point. And she's like, you can't get acidic throw up out of suede, okay? The poor girl. Listen, Kim was full-blown married at this point. Like, why, you know, like it's just so strange, honestly. And I forget that Kim was married to somebody before the 72 or 73-day marriage to Kris Humphries. So yeah, like she could have had help from Kim and her husband or something like that, you know? I don't know. So anyway, she phone calls, Bruce, I need you to know I threw up, and if we don't clean it up now, the paint's gonna peel. And so yeah, that's what happened. They cleaned up ASAP as soon as they arrived at the house, but unfortunately, Khloe's suede coat did not survive the assault. Guys, you know, it's meant to be a heartwarming, cute, funny story, but to me, it's very alarming that, you know, and I feel like I keep repeating myself, but I want to make it clear that I don't find this to be a cute and heartwarming story. I feel like Kris did not value Khloe's life that much to have her at 14 years old driving around like this and to have her as a designated driver. And I feel like Kris might have an alcohol problem. This is not the first time they tell a story like this, where it's like, this is like borderline CPS, like if not completely CPS, let's call them and like investigate this woman level stuff. Like, but here's the thing, there's pretty privilege and there's wealth privilege, right? Like if she were, and there's skinny privilege as well. So if she were like some fat, poor, ugly woman, oh, those kids would have been scooped up. She would have been called all types of backwoods, like, you know, what else you like, what are these like, you know, insults for like, you know, these like types of people. Like they would have been calling her like trash, this stuff. But because she lives a certain way and she looks a certain way, it's, oh, listen, she had a little bit too much to drink. It was a poor judgment, but like she's not neglectful, you know, and I find that to be rather sad. But I digress. Let me know what you thought about this story. And if you tuned into the debut episode of the 5th season of the Kardashians as well, don't forget to subscribe for more Kardashian news, general celebrity news, and royal news as well. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.